Hello, amazing ladies, and welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your host, Kylie King, the founder of Australian Ladies in Business Initiative, and I am so excited today to be joined by the amazing Kylie James from Kylie James Coaching. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much, Kylie, and thanks for having me on the show. It's super exciting.
I'm so excited to hear about your journey and your story. So why don't we start by telling the listeners a bit about yourself and what your business does?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Kylie, and I run a coaching business called Kylie James Coaching, and that started about 2 years or so ago. And it was while I was still working full time. So background wise, I was working in the public service for 20 years, pretty much in the HR, workplace relations, work health and safety space. So that was sort of my jam. But then I started doing coaching within that and just absolutely loved it. And then I thought one day, maybe I might want to do something a bit more with this. So I opened up a side hustle. And so I was doing that on the side while I was working. And I just loved it. I just absolutely loved it. And then decided I'm going to make a business out of this. And so I left my job. And so for the past close to 18 months now, I've been running my own business rather than the side hustle. And coaching people, mainly women, but I do coach men as well. And definitely all through those life changes. So transformation around careers, around different chapters of life. But primarily, a lot of the clients that come to me are generally over the age of 40. So when they hit their midlife and life just seems to get a little bit different, and there's different challenges and different opportunities that are presented to them, and they just need a little bit of help to navigate all of that. So that's been life over the last 18 months to 2 years for me. So yeah.
Beautiful. And how does it feel to be out of the corporate world?
Oh, look, it's completely different. I would have to say it's a really different mindset from being an employee to an entrepreneur. A massive mindset shift. Before you're working for someone, they would just send you the work. You had things that you had to do in your business. You've got so much flexibility. But also you have to go and find the work. So it's different. Like the buck stops with you. It's just a completely different mindset. And there's been, I would say, throughout my journey, there's been some ups and downs. It hasn't all been smooth sailing. There's definitely been some learnings around that mindset and really needing to make that shift. But I don't regret a bit of it. I don't, with all of that, I just don't regret making the step, I have to say. And yeah, just taking the leap of faith, basically. And some people call it brave. I just felt like it was the right thing to do for me. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. There's a few business owners now that I know that have said very similar, like once they're out of corporate, that's great. So that they've moved on. So that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So
you just get a completely different insight,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And it's like once you embrace that you're a business owner and you go, this is what I want to do and this is how it works. And you're working for yourself and you don't have to worry about maybe a pesky boss or those sort of things. You can run by your own deadlines, not the deadlines of others. It's as you said, it's a very big mindset shift change to then go, this is what I'm doing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So what gets you out of bed in the morning? Like what motivates you to keep going every day, even maybe without your coffee, just like, this is what I'm doing?
Yeah, such a great question. I think that's waxed and waned, if that kind of makes sense, over time. And again, that's a lesson for me, is that sometimes you can have a little bit of free time and you think, oh, I'll just kind of float through the day, if that kind of makes sense. But I think the more and more I step into that entrepreneurship journey or the business journey, it's really coming back to purpose. what's my purpose? Why am I doing this? Why aren't I sitting in a 9-to-5 job? Why did I leave that corporate job? Because that's actually what keeps me going every single day. And it's coming back to helping people, serving people. I've got my ideas, I've got my voice. I want to get out there and share that and make a difference and ultimately change the world if that's what I can do. And so I've got to keep remembering every time I get up, that's what I want to do. So that's why you're getting up every day. And that's been the lesson over the last 12 months is remember what your purpose is, remember what your why is, and then you will get up every day and you will I guess, do what you want to do in life. So I don't know if that's kind of what
it
keeps other people going, but that's what, yeah.
No, it absolutely makes sense, because even, remembering why you started, why you left, why you're doing what you're doing is so important to remember to keep you on track, because, there's going to be hiccups. Being a business owner isn't easy at times. And to go, okay, this is what I'm doing. Is there a specific way you remember your why? Is it just something like that's implanted in your brain, or do you have it written somewhere? Or
yeah, I have a vision board that I have in my office. So I have a vision board of all the different things within life, not just around business, but within life, of what are the things that I need to remember. And then I just have quotes, lots of quotes everywhere. And a lot of it is around transformation, change, very positive quotes, just to say, this is what's going to keep you going. Things on your screensaver, on your laptop and on your phone, and those sorts of, they're just little things, but that's what keeps me motivated and reminds me. I also have a little puppy who's 9 months old, and I have to say, I got her through last year, and I guess it was an opportunity where before, when I was working full time, I didn't have the capacity to look after, a puppy at home and those sorts of things. I didn't want to leave them by themselves when I was hardly ever home. And whereas now I work from home a lot more, and she's here and she brings me so much joy. So I get up every day and she's incorporated in my day, all the time. So I know that it might sound a little bit silly, but, it is something that I've gained out of stepping into my business that I couldn't do when I was working all the time in an office. Was never home because I probably worked too much. So yeah, it's looking at all those different things that I've gained from stepping into my business that keeps me motivated and going every single day. So yeah.
And there is no way that puppy's going to let you sleep in at 9 months.
Exactly. No, she doesn't. She wants to get up. She wants a walk. She wants her food. Come on, let's go.
So there you go. If you need a good motivator, get a puppy.
Absolutely. Yep, they're very good for you and your mental health, and just your joy. They just keep you going. So yeah, absolutely.
So what would you say has been your biggest challenge so far in your business?
I'm going to say money mindset. And I know probably a lot of business owners say that, but it really is. Money is not a motivator for me. It's not a driver. And I've really had to flip my mindset around how I look at money, how I want to receive it, how I want to use it, spend it, all of those sorts of things. But then how it becomes part of your business. Before, when I was in that 9-to-5 job, you just got regular steady income coming in every fortnight. Now it's about cash flow. It's about what you want to spend your money on, all of those sorts of things. So it's a really different way of thinking. And ultimately, if you don't earn money, how are you going to live life? So you can't not have money as a motivator, or you can't say, I don't care about money or anything like that. Probably where I was before, I kind of took it for granted a little bit, whereas now I'm like, okay, you've got to be a bit smarter and learn a lot more about how you can use it, what you can use it for, and how you can set up life so that it just becomes easy. So yeah, so that's probably been my biggest learning over the last 12 months that I didn't have before. Yeah.
Well, you've got to make money, because if not, then you've got to go back to the corporate world. And we
That's
already
right.
we're not
Yeah.
doing that. So no, that's a
Mm.
great one. And I think some people sort of, when they go into business, have their blinders on, like, I don't want to worry about the money, it'll just happen.
Yeah.
But without actually addressing it and looking at it and what's happening, it's going to send you back to the corporate world probably faster. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's definitely something that I've really thought about. And maybe I probably did walk in with, with some blinders on, and that's where I had to learn and say, okay, what do I need to do to turn this around? So yeah.
Okay, so let's flip it. What's been your biggest achievement so far in business?
Oh, my biggest achievement. Oh gosh, I'm gonna say some of the awesome projects that I've worked on. And I know, again, it might sound silly, but I've been able to choose the projects that I've worked on, and I've been able to choose the ones that are right in my sweet spot. And so it just doesn't feel like work then. And I think we forget what our biggest assets are, or what our biggest gifts are. And it's just what we do naturally. And I think for me to be able to just choose those projects or the clients that you get to work with, and you just deliver great work, great outcomes, and it just seems easy. I don't know if that, it's not, because you're still doing a lot of work behind the scenes, but it's not, you don't feel like you're rocking up to work every single day, if that kind of makes sense. You're actually having fun. And I think I've really loved that part of it. And the other thing is the community that you're meeting. And I think there's a lot of people out there that want to collaborate and actually want to, do work together to achieve really good things in the world. And again, meeting people who are just doing amazing things out there is just, it's been awesome to connect with different people.
I love that you brought up community. So I came from a bit of a corporate background too, but what I noticed, and this just might be me, but what I noticed in the corporate environment was very much step on someone's head to get ahead. Whereas when you're a small business owner, it's like, okay, how can we lift each other up? How can we work together to do that? And I know this is part of the reason I started ALIBI, Australian Ladies in Business, to do that and to facilitate that to happen. If that was a mindset shift for myself, because it was very much like, okay, no, we're not stomping on people. That's we're here to help each other, because then we can both go further.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
So I love that one of your achievements is community, because when you have a community and when you use it, well, and you're involved and you're doing what you can do, the potential is just, it's just unspeakable, really. You can do amazing things. Like, look, this podcast is here because we have a community such as yourself that are like, I'm up for a podcast.
Yeah.
So no, I love that achievement.
Yeah. I started a community for women over the age of 40, and I started as a private group in Facebook, and I'm kind of figuring out what to do with it. But within that, I've started like a bit of a live chat series, so similar to this, but I'm expanding it out. And I think the beauty of being in a community like that is the encouragement, and I guess you can trial and experiment and do things that are outside of your comfort zone as well. And there are people there that are cheering you on and supporting you to do that. And I think that's been such a beautiful part of the community that I'm trying to build. But I can see that that's also what you're trying, you're aiming to do as well with all of this. And I think it's just wonderful. And I really love being part of these sorts of groups and conversations and communities. I think it's really important for all of us. So that belonging piece.
And even even though you've got this amazing puppy at home, working from home can be so lonely at times too, where you're like, I just need to talk to someone. Like, that's what corporate or other work is for, because you've got people around you all the time. But to then go, okay, I need someone to talk to, or I just need to know if anyone else is experiencing this. So I agree. Community is important. So anyone that's listening, if you aren't in a great community, go and find one.
Yes, agree. Agree. Yeah, yeah.
Go and find one.
Yeah, agree.
So is there any advice you wish you were given maybe before you started your business or during your journey where you're just like, why didn't anyone maybe warn me about that or tell me to start it sooner?
I'm going to say one thing that I now remember is it's okay to fail fast or experiment or learn, whatever word you want to associate with it. It's actually okay. Do it, see what you can learn from it, and move on. Because if you get stuck, you'll be stuck there for a long time, potentially, if you can't figure out how to move on. And it's not a negative thing to fail, I guess, or learn or experiment. It's not a negative thing. So flip it, make it a positive thing, and just keep trying. And I've now adopted that mindset, and I think it's serving me really well. Whereas in the beginning, I was really scared of failing. I thought it was a really bad thing. So really flipping that mindset and be positive about it. Just give things a go. And if something doesn't work out, that's actually okay. There's generally a reason for it. So I was told that in the beginning, but it doesn't kind of click in for a little while. And I think you do have to kind of go through your ups and downs, and then you're like, oh, okay, now this is actually okay for it to go this way. So yeah.
Well, when you start a business, you don't want your advice to be fail fast because you're like, no,
Yeah, no.
I want to be in a business. I don't want to fail. So then you put it off, and then it's like, well, you're not failing as a business owner. Just some things you do might not work, and that's okay because your biggest learnings will come from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it took me a while to kind of flip the message on that one, but I can see where it came from now. So it was, I think, a good one to keep in the back of your mind that it's just all okay, and it's going to be okay. So yeah.
Beautiful. So if you're willing to share, what's your ultimate goal for your business? Like the big, hairy, scary one that you might have hidden on your wall somewhere?
Yeah, so currently I have a coaching business, but I'm in the process at the moment of opening up a second business, which is going to be called Ruby HR. So it's a HR consultancy, and essentially I want to combine the two, and it's coaching / HR business, and it's to help small business owners, but also businesses in general, leaders within those businesses, basically learn about HR and how they can become best friends with HR rather than see it as a thing that they have to do. So ultimately, I'd love to grow this business and, it to be absolutely amazing, and travel the world and become a thought leader in this space. So that's kind of the goal and where I'm heading. And I'm at the start of the journey, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it. So yeah.
And it's on your vision board?
It's on my vision board. Yes,
Beautiful.
Absolutely. I'm manifesting it.
Beautiful. So that's two great things as well. On your vision board, put your why and your ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Done. If you don't have a vision board, put those up there.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be fancy. Use a piece of cardboard. Put some, words on a piece of cardboard or a piece of paper and just, post it, pop it up on your wall. It doesn't need to be fancy. So, yeah.
So you mentioned that you're moving into HR consulting and you want to be a thought leader. So it's clearly your genius zone. So is there a tip that you would like to share with the listeners about that space that they can, like a sample, so then they can come and stalk you?
Yeah, I think throughout my whole entire journey has been, don't be afraid to take a first step. It doesn't need to be perfect. And I think if you let your self-doubt creep in, you'll actually not move forward. So give it a go, step in and see what magic can happen. And I think that's been really what I've done throughout my journey. And that's what I'm going to be going to keep doing. And that's what I talk to my clients around about a lot is what can you do, even if it's something really, really small that will take you one step closer to your goal. It doesn't have to be a massive leap like leaving your job or changing, moving countries or whatever it might be, but it's one step that will take you, closer to it. Because if we think about, we have 365 days of the year. So if we took one step every single day, we're 365 steps closer to our goal by the end of 12 months, which that's actually quite a lot when we look at it, in the bigger picture. So yeah, that would be kind of my advice. And I think that's I talk to my clients about that, but also I actually, that's that's what I walk as well. So
I think it's important to remember that it takes a lot of small steps to get to where you go, and just realizing that it's going to take time.
Yeah.
For the impatient people listening, things take time.
Yes,
and I can say that because I know myself, I'm very impatient, but things take time, and it's the small steps that will ultimately add up to where you're going. So
and consistency as well. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful. So how do the listeners stalk you? Where do we find you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. So the handle is at Kylie James Coaching. Obviously, I've also got my Facebook profile. Feel free to connect. I'd love to connect. I'm also on LinkedIn. So Kylie James on LinkedIn. What you'll see is me in a sparkly outfit with a blue sparkly outfit. Everything about me is I love sparkles and dancing and fun. So that's kind of reflected in the photos that you'll see on my profile. So check me out. I've also got a website, www.kyliejamescoaching.com.au. So you can check out my website as well.
Beautiful. And I love the fact that you've got your personality shining through, even on LinkedIn. Because on LinkedIn, it can be stuffy, it can be boring, everyone's wearing a suit. But the fact that you're just like, I'm going to be blue and glittery and I'm going to love it. Like, that's amazing, because it's your personality shining through. So
yeah, definitely. Again, that's been part of my journey, is own who you are. And be who you are, and that's okay. You don't have to do the same as what everyone else is doing. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And anyone that wants to stalk you can find you either in the Australian Ladies in Business group at Kylie James or at kyliejamescoaching.com.au. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your amazing tips.
Thank you for having me on the show, Kylie. Really appreciate it.